Hello again, and welcome back to the channel. Zachary Dickinson here. Today, we are starting a video series for the next couple of videos across multiple different days for TV shows or slash movies, and also a few different book videos as well. As in a few weeks, we have Star Wars May the 4th, and so I thought, what better time of the year would it be to go over some of my favorite Star Wars projects and also to rank some of the different Star Wars content and to give you a watch list and guide. Of Star Wars, so look forward to that as we go through Star Wars. So today's video is every Star Wars movie ranked. This includes all 9 episodes of the Skywalker Saga, unfortunately including the sequel trilogy. We have the 3 standalone movies, including 1 animated film. We have the Clone Wars movie, which kind of starts off as the beginning of the Clone Wars animated show. And we have both of the A Star Wars story in both Rogue One and Solo. So let's begin. I'll be ranking them down from 12 all the way up to 1. So without any further ado, I thank you all for here and for watching. Like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell for all these wonderful videos that are coming out right now and in the very near future. And comment below something you like about Star Wars. Let's get on into this video. To start it off, we go on from number 12. We have The Last Jedi, the worst Star Wars movie ever made, and part 1 of part 2 of why people think the sequel trilogy should not exist and should be decanonized. Why? Because this movie is that bad! That bad! Grandmaster Luke, non-existent. Saves the Resistance for a little while, but is in the movie for all of about 5 to 10 minutes. Rey is an okay character at this point. She hasn't pissed too many people off. Her family relation is not that relevant right now. Kylo Ren is teetering on being good and bad. Kill Snoke, that's a good moment. But overall, this is the first ever of the 9 of at this point the 8 Star Wars Skywalker Saga movies to not include a single lightsaber fight. This movie is not good. I'm not going to rant about it. I don't remember it well that much. I don't like it. Period. So, let's get on to number 11. Okay, now we have part 2 of the worst 2 movies that Star Wars has ever made in its history. And that is The Rise of Skywalker, the end of the Skywalker Saga, the end of the sequel trilogy. Why is this so bad? Because it's bad. Rey beats Palpatine by aligning herself so strongly with the Force in not that much of training, not nearly as much as Luke or Anakin, to where she is able to drag. I don't even know what to describe, but able to align herself so much with the Force to where she attracts all notable characters so far in the Skywalker Saga to gain their powers to help beat Palpatine. That is so stupid. Beyond dumb. Palpatine being back. Dumb as hell. Rey being a Palpatine. We didn't need to know her family lineage. We really did not. End of movie. Rey being, I am Rey Skywalker. I wanted to punch her. Go through the movie theater screen and punch her. Dumbest thing ever. Bad movie. Bad overall. I never want to watch this. I really wish that this would be decanonized. Episode 7 started off so decent, even though it was basically a carbon copy of A New Hope, but it was decent. 8 and 9 did not do it any favors. But let's get on into some of the better Star Wars movies as we move away from the bad and move away to at least the okay. to start off our top 10, even though there's only 12. But coming in at number 10 is Solo, a Star Wars story. Origin story of Solo, of Han Solo. Honestly, probably better in a book form, if I'm being frankly honest. This was hyped up more than it needed to be. And it also came out after the Clone Wars, which gave it a little bit better of a justice than it would have been otherwise. We already knew some of the key story points of this movie, really. How Han cheated his way into getting the Millennium Falcon, how him and Chewie had met up originally. But we didn't know his childhood, so I'll give it that. It's an okay and good film. Not the best, not the worst, not as bad as episodes 8 and 9 of the sequel trilogy, Skywalker Saga. But yeah, and it's good. It's okay. Not the best, not the worst. Solo, a Star Wars story. Off to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we have Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I'm not saying it's bad. I am just saying it's not as good as the rest. Straight up, it's just not as good. It's a good to great Star Wars film. We didn't necessarily need it. We got it anyways. And it led to Andor coming out, which I'm finishing later, coming up soon. But overall, it didn't need to happen. It happened, and it was a good film. It wasn't bad by any means. It wasn't great by any means. It was a good Star Wars story of how the plans to the Death Star pretty much came to be over there. And were able to go to Leia to begin a new hope. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Nothing bad to say about it. It was just a good film. Off to number 8. Alright, to round out the bottom half of the list, well, not quite, but almost there. Sorry, my bad. We have the only animated movie of this entire list. We have the animated Clone Wars movie. I just like it. I think it's very rewatchable, and it's a wonderful prelude to the Clone Wars show. All 7 seasons of it. A wonderful introduction of Ahsoka. Anakin surprisingly getting his own student. I love it. It's a wonderful film. I have very deep-seated childhood and nostalgia feeling towards it. And so it's good. It's a wonderful film. It's just not as good as some of these others. Off to the last movie of the bottom half. Alright, to round out the bottom half of this list and ranking of the Star Wars movies, we have the beginning of the sequel trilogy, the movie that gave us hope. A new and revitalized hope for this trilogy. Why do I say that? It copied A New Hope almost beat for beat. Main character is raised and born on a desert planet without their birth parents. Someone crash lands on the planet, brings something to help them get to a specific person to help against the rebellion or the resistance. The big weapon that is being used is a planet or planets killer weapons, either the Death Star or the Star Killer base. Both have a secret weak spot that was secretly developed by someone that made it. It's almost beat for beat A New Hope. However, it's a good and okay film. It's not as bad as 8 or 9. It gave us hope, and there's a reason why it sold as well as it did. Let's move on to the top half. Now, as we move into the top half, you may notice that, the original and prequel trilogy are all that's left. That was by design. Yeah, these are the best 6 Star Wars movies that have been made so far. Also, if you're enjoying this if you're enjoying this video, give it a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to follow along on the journey and become one of the first 20 subscribers. We're at 12. Let's get to 20. On the road to 20 and beyond. So, number 6, we have episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I pretty much just put this at number 6 because I know everything in the original and prequel trilogy is still better than The Force Awakens. The Empire Strikes Back is just an okay film. It's a good film nonetheless, but I don't find it to be as good as A New Hope, and it pretty much is just building towards the ultimate finale of Return of the Jedi. So it's a good film nonetheless. Obviously, I must like it to some degree to put it at number 6 out of 12. But this is still only halfway up through the list, so it's good. Let's move on to number 5 to start the top 5 of the list. Alright, so some of these next 5 can really be interchangeable, except for really at most the top 2. So 3 to 5 is really hard to come down to an actual list, but I found a list for at least today. Maybe it'll change in the future. I don't really know. But coming at number 5 is episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Why is it coming in at number 5? Even though I recognize all these 5 to be great and wonderful films. It's just because I don't find it to be as good as episode 3. It doesn't introduce as many new characters and intrigue as episode 1. Or set up and start up a whole new universe as episode 4 does, and doesn't finish off a wonderful trilogy like episodes 3 or 6 do. With that being said, episode 2 is a wonderful way as we introduce the Clone Wars, and I thank it so much because then if it wasn't for episode 2, we wouldn't get the Clone Wars movie and subsequent 7 seasons of the show. So I love the movie. It is a wonderful film. I do think it's not the best in plot. In these top 5 is pretty much why it's here. And definitely some things could have been portrayed a little bit differently, but you had to get rid of a few characters, and so I understand some points of the writing in that aspect. So let's get into number 4. Alright, coming in at number 4, we have the original, the beginning, episode 4, The Way That It All Started, A New Hope. The only reason why this is at number 4 and not anywhere in the top 3 is mostly because of how episode 6 and other subsequent episodes are just better in choreography with fighting, and are just overall better in my opinion. This is a wonderful start to the universe. However, you can tell that it's the start to a universe, and you can tell that they're not specifically mapping it out with intention and purpose and don't have anything else planned. I'm pointing at the fact that they don't originally have Luke and Leia being sisters planned. You don't have a guaranteed storyline for Han Solo all the way in the future. And it's a very bare bones kind of film. You don't have nearly as many characters as you do by the time you have to episode 5 or 6 that could have been in this movie. And so that's why it is at number 4. Let's get into the top 3. We only have 3 films left. 2 of them are in the prequel trilogy. I like the prequel trilogy. In It's what I grew up on. Number 3, Episode 1, Phantom Menace. The introduction of Darth Maul is a big reason why this here. Darth Maul is one of the best written and one of the best overall characters in the entirety of Star Wars. He was given multiple arcs in Star Wars to himself, basically. We have also Qui-Gon Jinn, introduction, and of course death. Overall, Qui-Gon is one of the wisest and most well-rounded characters. And here's a fun fact: if Qui-Gon didn't die, Count Dooku would not be a Sith. That would be pretty much a fact at this point. He was very leaning towards becoming a Sith and basically a Sith. But it is well talked about and well theorized that Qui-Gon Jinn's death is the final nail in the coffin for his turn to the dark side. Qui-Gon dying is pretty much the reason why the original trilogy exists. Because if Qui-Gon didn't die, there's good reason for Anakin to not have fallen to the dark side and to not be led astray as easily by Palpatine, no matter what. And so there's all these different story beats and stuff of why you basically had to kill off Qui-Gon, just like George Lucas felt like he had to kill off Alec Guinness's portrayal of Obi-Wan, as he felt like he was too wise in that portrayal. So I can go on and on about this movie. It is a great and wonderful film. There's a reason why it's number 3 of this list. I love it. It's fantastic. We even have the introduction to gangs, mobs, to slavery, and the terrors of pod racing. Jedi, we have a planet close to the core in the boom. We have subtle hints that Palpatine isn't all that good. So yeah, I love this movie. It's a wonderful film. Let's get into the top 2. So, the only 2 films left are both of the conclusions of the prequel and original trilogy. So, what is number 2? Well, that is Return of the Jedi. That means we know what number 1 is, and we'll find out about that in just a minute. Why is it number 2 and why isn't it number 1? I just find that I'll explain more in detail, but I just find that this isn't as well-rounded and complete of a story as number 1 is. This is still a wonderful film. We have Luke basically becoming the Grand Master. We have Leia and Han officially becoming a couple. Luke and Leia officially as siblings by this point, and Leia officially hints that she might have Force abilities. We have Emperor Palpatine goes down, Darth Vader dies, but also turns to the good side, and thus becoming 22 in light, 22 in dark, and fulfilling balance. A wonderful and great end to a wonderful trilogy that you can tell that the lore of the universe was being built as they thought about it. And so also the Ewoks are also very funny. C-3PO being their god is hilarious. Just because he didn't exist like 40 years ago, so it's very funny that they think that he's their god or whatever. Yeah, so this is just a wonderful, wonderful film, and definitely could have been the best if not for our number 1. I've already said that the prequel trilogy is my favorite of the 3 trilogies, so this should come as no surprise at all that number 1 is Revenge of the Sith. This is the greatest Star Wars film yet. It is the greatest culmination of at least a whole entire trilogy. And if you add in the fact that the Clone Wars show came out, the Clone Wars show makes it that much more of a well-rounded show and trilogy as a whole. In the movie, Anakin comes off as a whiny kind of adult that really wants this one thing that he's been wanting. But if you take in the context of the show, it makes it like he's a decorated war veteran and the best general in the entire Clone Wars, but you won't grant him the rank of master after he saved each of y'all's behinds multiple times. But you take this movie in a nutshell, in a vacuum, just the three as a trilogy. It's a great and wonderful trilogy as we see the rise of Anakin Skywalker. He clearly has struggles with emotions, but the Jedi don't really treat him properly. Why? Because he's a kid. He actually has a brain by the time he comes to the Jedi Order. Oh, infuriating. All of the Jedi Order being so dogmatic at this point and just being a clear and obvious portrayal of the fact that governments are just corrupt and don't want to see the end of their ways. They could have very easily just accepted Anakin for who he is and helped him along his journey and actually treated him like a member of the Jedi Order. Mace Windu, a decorated Jedi Master and Master of the Order, never treats him like someone who's actually in the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan treats him like a brother instead of treating him like his son, like what a master to Padawan relationship should be. Treats him like a brother instead of something like a father figure or an adult parental figure should be. There are many ways and many reasons that you can put analogies and reasonings behind Anakin's fall, but we see it in full display that it's more than just him being a whiny brat and emotional adult. But that is my list. Alright, and so that is my list of all 12 Star Wars movies that have come out as we near the release of the 13th with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, and Star Wars Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling, will also be coming out in the near future. I can't wait for much more Star Wars content and for them to go deeper into lore, with also the movie that is supposed to be coming out very soon in Dawn of the Jedi, the beginning of the Star Wars universe timeline. At the very least, I can't wait. I love it. I hope to see you all in what will be the beginning of a brand new series of deep dives of my top 5 animes. This time we'll start off with deep dive top 5 Isekai top 5 how a realist hero rebuilt the kingdom. I'll see you all Friday. Like the video, subscribe, comment below something you like about Star Wars. I'd love to start a conversation with you in the comments. See you in the next one. Goodbye and God bless.